to read this book with me. Just Chinese stories I got a long time ago and I haven't read it. And we're not really doing much right now. She wanted to sit down here with me and see if you can learn a little bit. I already skimmed a little bit through it, see bookmarks. And I think I'll just read the stories. They have if you see, let's just go through it. See. Some of the artwork. It's pretty nice. I do. Chinese traditional artwork is always very, very beautiful. A lot of stuff is based on these older stories. And they have vocab if you want to learn it. For Chinese learners, when I was trying to learn that, but it's a little difficult for me at this point. So right now, I'm not too worried about it. I think I need an actual person to teach me. So here's the first story I kind of liked as I was skimming through. Like a frog at the bottom of a well. And so it has I think how the story came to be, the historical. I don't know if this is historically accurate section. But here's the actual story. If you want, let's read it together. Okay. One day, a frog who lived in an abandoned well said to the giant turtle of the eastern sea, "Look at me. I'm the happiest creature in the world. I can come up whenever I want and hop around the room of the well. When I get tired, I can rest at the ledge on the inside of the wall. When I jump into the water, it buoys me up. When I walk through a mud puddle, it covers my feet. When I look at the other creatures around me, the little bugs, baby crabs, and tadpoles, none of them is as happy as me. What's more, I am the lord of this well with all its delights. You really should come down here and see it for yourself." And also, here's all the, traditional Chinese, I assume. Right here. Hearing all this made the great turtle curious, so he decided to go down into the well to take a look. But even before he could put it in his left foot, his right knee got stuck on the rim of the well. So the great turtle slowly backed out and began telling the frog about the eastern sea. "You let me look at your well," said the great turtle. "So now I'll tell you about the eastern sea. The sea is so vast that even a distance of 1,000 li cannot begin to describe its breadth. The height of 1,000 poles is not enough to measure its depth. In ancient times, the earth was once ravaged by floods for 9 years out of the 10, and yet the sea did not rise one bit. At another time, there was drought 7 years out of the 8, and the sea did not change one bit. Thus, the eastern sea is not affected by the changing tides, and it does not expand or shrink according to the amount of rainfall. This is the greatest delight of the eastern sea." Hearing what the great turtle just said, the frog was stunned and he was left utterly speechless. And then the rest of the story, it's blah blah blah. I don't know. And then here's this. The lesson, the Chinese proverb. The literal meaning is the frog at the bottom of a well. The connotation is a person with a very limited outlook who takes pride in his own ignorant complacency. And then it's the original source, The Floods of Autumn, a chapter in Zhangli Zi, blah blah blah. So, and here's the image of the little well. And look, the little frog sitting, he's chilling. The turtle talking shit to him. I think that was, expansive view, showing how well he has it. I don't even know. I guess right now I can't really think about anything about it. I think it's interesting, how they came up with that story. A philosopher of the time, and it's like proverbs and that type of stuff will always be stuff in your face. It's always universal, no matter what point in history it's gonna be, right? So I don't know, I think that's always very interesting. That from 5th century BCE to now, I still you can still find places where you can apply it, right? Stuff like that. So what was this one? The great teacher who provided equal opportunities for students. Blah blah blah. Confucius as a teacher. Down to earth. Blah blah. I don't know. History, if you want to read it, you can. I can give it to you later if you want. But for right now, I just excuse to read these stories. Why is this the story? I don't know. Oh yeah, the following story illustrates the controversy. Yeah, I guess here's the story. I don't know. Alright. Okay. When Confucius was returning to his home estate of Lu, with his entourage of students, he discovered to his chagrin that guards had been posted at a checkpoint to collect tolls. He was further embarrassed that he didn't have enough money to pay for the toll for all his students, so a student by the name of Xingon generously volunteered to pay for the entire group. Another student, Ziwu, took this as an opportunity to raise a point with his teacher, Confucius, saying, "I have told you long ago that you should raise your fees. Your students get their room and board from you, so it's as if you're subsidizing them. Your low tuition is tantamount of letting the well-off students hitch a ride. If you raise your fees, then you'll have more money to subsidize the poor students. It's like this checkpoint. I think the country should raise the tolls. It costs the government money to maintain roads and other public works. Poor folks may pass through only 3 times a month, whereas the rich come through 30 times. If the toll is raised, the country will have more money to subsidize the poor. The same principle applies to tuition." This seemingly logical argument drew the following rebuke from the master: "Rotted wood cannot be carved. A wall made of dung and dirt cannot be plastered over." What he meant was that a shabby student is not worth teaching. Hearing this, Ziwu felt wronged and said defensively, "It's not that I'm in favor of collecting more tuition. I just want you to do some good for the poor." I don't know. I just looked at the name. I'm not really sure what it means. I'm not sure what this entails. Let's just read this. I'm not sure. Confucius' principles of equal education opportunities for all is encapsulated by the phrase "Yo Xiao Le," which is generally interpreted as, "When it comes to education, there should be no discrimination, But some scholars have proposed to an alternate interpretation. I fucking lost my place. That interpretation that education has an equalizing effect on people. That is, the boundaries that separate people of different social statuses, levels of wealth, intellect, ethnicity, and so on, will no longer exist once people are educated. While Confucius was egalitarian in accepting students, he set a very high bar for them. He saw teaching and learning as a two-way process that engaged both the teacher and the student. If a student was unwilling or unable to make inferences from the examples presented by their teacher, then there was no point in teaching them. As the story goes, one day Master Confucius said to his students, "I'll raise one corner and if you cannot respond with the other three corners, then I will not repeat myself." In other words, Confucius challenged the students to come up with 3 examples from each one he gave to them. If they could not do this, then he will not teach them anymore. Yikes. That's a little extreme, don't you think? To this, Zhu Fei Fan raise one, return with 3 is used to describe the type of student that all teachers love to teach. It also captures the idea that the main job of a teacher is to inspire students to think and learn for themselves, rather than to download knowledge into their brains. You know, that's true. That's how it should be. See these trees. But I don't think it's always possible. I agree that teachers should be there as tools for the students to elevate themselves. But, I guess the quality of students will, because here, I think in this time period, right, you could kind of choose who he taught, right? There wasn't like a type of thing of like public education where everyone had to go to school, everyone had to learn, because I guess I think it's probably the scale of it, right, that we're trying to achieve, that we're trying to teach everyone from anything, from any like social group, whatever. We're trying to teach them, but we don't have like the amount of professors. We're not willing to support them, right? Like, I bet teachers, people who go in education, all that, are like try to really do care, really want to teach people stuff, and could like inspire others, anyone to go to work, to think for themselves. But when we don't support them monetarily with like their pay and stuff, or like resources, don't assist the students with resources, you're rarely gonna get students of like this level that we try to idolize, right? For students to be like, and you'll just get people that don't care, that just want to go through it, and like, and then which then in turns leads to teachers like morale going down, motivation, where they have to start cutting corners to at least get students to go to learn and to pass the bare minimum for them to function in society. But that's like it's not like a modern education system type deal, which is, I guess, outside of like what they were aiming for here. So, but I think it's still relevant in a modern today's context, I don't know, sorry, just thinking about that right now. So, saying 1, literal meaning. When it comes to teaching, there is no segregation, connotations. When it comes to education, all students should be treated equally. Once people are educated, differences of class, wealth, and origin disappear. I mean, the second one I agree with the first one. I think the first one's very, very true. I don't know if that's true. I think if everyone was educated, I think the way they think of education is different than what I would think of education. Because I guess an educated person would understand, how to treat people and all that other stuff. Like, the whole complete thing of, like, how to act in society compared to, like, societal, like, knowledge and then, like, traditional, like, how do I say it? Like science, math type of, like, knowledge, right? Where, like, they're informed, but they're not educated. I guess this is what I'm trying to say. If you understand what I'm saying. Like that, I don't know. I haven't read a lot of books to remember, like, words I can use. It's been a while. Okay, the second thing. Literal meaning. Raise one example and respond with 3. Connotation. Bright students who are able to make their own inferences can take what is taught to them and expand upon it. Yes. But yeah, you should be able to, if you're, like, really, if it's something you really like, you should be able to expand on it. Like, that's how I was with, engineering, on that type of stuff. That was very good. But honestly, there's gonna be subjects where, like, I don't really care. I don't care to expand. I don't care to develop this stuff. Because the teacher can only teach you such an amount, right? And the rest you have to do on your own. The teacher can't make you learn, right? They can provide you the resources. And this, at the end of the day, you have to be the one to pay attention to do further study, to think about it and develop it in your head, right? But, need book. Oh yeah, it's just like a modern context, I guess. Proverbs in modern usage. I don't know whatever. We already talked about it. This one about a tiger. Is that like a cool little fox? And el tigre. Little usagi. I think that's the right word, right? Well, Japanese. Bunny. Bun. Oh, this looks cool. Look at this. The horses. With, like, the patrol behind them. Oh, I want to draw like this, but, like, this just is, I guess, I don't know. It's not really using colors, so I guess I can still kind of do it. I like, doing watercolor. I think it's some sort of watercolor. And it's using these shades. You can use your shades, because I don't like using, I would like to use colors, but I feel I'm just more comfortable in, like, neutral tones, like white, gray, black, stuff like that. But maybe, I don't know. Okay, next one. Waiting for a rabbit to bite a tree stump. Alright. I'm just gonna read all of it. I don't know why I skipped that one. Well, you don't really. Over 2,000 years ago, in the ancient state of Sung, I think this is different, I don't remember. There was a hard-working farmer who toiled away from morning until night. Every day he was out working in the field before any of his neighbors, and he didn't quit until after everyone else had gone home. In a good year, he grew the best crops in his village, and everyone envied him. But in a year when they were hit with drought or flood, the harvest would barely be enough to get through. The winter and his family suffered like everyone else. He wished there was a better way to ensure there would be enough food on the table for his family, but he couldn't think of any bright ideas, so he just kept on working hard. Then one day, a miracle occurred. The farmer was hoeing in his field under the hot sun, when he heard a commotion in the distance. A saw a couple of hunters running and yelling. The next thing he saw was a frantic rabbit running for its life. A split second later, he saw the rabbit dash into a tree stump. The poor creature broke its neck, whimpered for a few seconds, and then went totally limp. Uh-oh. When the farmer got over his shock, a happy thought came to him. Wow, I got this rabbit just by standing here near the stump. The rabbit will be a real treat for my family, and I can even sell the rabbit fur for a bit of cash. If I can catch one rabbit each day, this way I'll be rich and I won't have to toil under the hot sun anymore. From that day on, the farmer abandoned his hoe and sat under a tree near the stump, waiting for another rabbit to appear. He waited and waited until his field was covered with weeds. As far as we know, no rabbit ever dashed itself against that stump. Again, when word got around, the farmer became a laughingstock throughout the state of Song. In Chinese culture, the phrase "waiting for the rabbit by a tree stump" has become a colorful way to express the idea that we shouldn't expect the same miracle to happen twice. Just because we had a stroke of luck, we would be foolish to sit around and wait for it to repeat itself. Moreover, only a good-for-nothing would expect to get something without working. I guess. The author of the story, the great legalist, philosopher Hans Weiss, had an even more serious message in mind. He told this story in the opening passage of a long political treatise on how rulers should adopt new methods of governance and change the laws to keep up with changing times, rather than sticking with the tried and true methods used by other rulers in the past. The story of the foolish farmer waiting for another miracle concludes with this admonishment. Wishing to use the policies of former kings to govern people in contemporary times is just as foolish as waiting for the rabbits by a tree stump. It is said that the great emperor of Qi, I think it's Qi, right? Held Hans Weiss' philosophy in high regards, and this was one of the critical factors that enabled him to unify China for the first time in Chinese history. So, the farmer, you're sitting with a little tree, so he's just snoozing away. Snoozing, and then the silly little rabbit, bonk. Yeah, I don't know why you would think that. That's a little silly. Come on, buddy. Now, the Chinese proverb, the literal meaning keeping watch by. Oh wait, no, the proverb is "shou di zu." Don't worry what we're saying. The literal meaning is keeping watch by a tree stump, waiting for rabbits. Connotation: it is foolish to wait for a stroke of luck to happen again just because it happened once before. It is impractical to stick with a way because it happened once before. It is practical to stick with a way of doing something just because it worked once in the past. Original source: The Five Vermin, a political treatise by Hans Weiss. Wow. Yeah, I like this story actually, but I feel it's a bit of on the extreme side of it. Like, yeah, everyone thinks like, yeah, why would you wait for that? That's kind of silly. But I think it's so good. All right, last one for right now. When the city gates burn, fish in the moat suffer disaster. Once upon a time in China, the fire broke out in a city gate next to the moat that protected the city from attack. One of the fish in the moat caught sight of the fire. Alarmed, he called out to his neighbors, and the two of them had the following conversation. Redfish: this is going to be a huge calamity for the city's inhabitants. How will they escape? Bluefish: well, at least we're safe. There's no way for the fire can reach us here in the water. Redfish. The fire is spreading fast, and everyone inside is trapped. Bluefish. Look here. All of us are just little fish in the moat. We're lucky to escape being caught and cooked as gourmet meals. We can't worry about those people up there. What have they ever done for us anyways? Redfish. Oh look, they've called the fire brigade from the countryside, and everyone is coming with buckets to get water to put out the fire. Bluefish. Yippee, they are scooping out all the water from the moat. The water's almost gone. What will become of us? Redfish. Oh no, we are doomed. Uh-oh. This conversation ended quickly as the fish scrambled for cover in the lower depth of the moat. But it wasn't long before all the fish in the moat were flopping on the muddy bottom of an empty moat, gasping for their last breaths. Yikes. The good minister, Dubai, went down in history as a hero, but within his lifetime in his own country, he too fell victim to treachery. For this forthright and desired stern corruption, he made political enemies who smeared him by accusing him of corruption. These false accusations resulted in his execution, although he was posthumously exonerated 10 years later. Yikes. That's fucked up. So, the Chinese proverb is Sheng Min Shi Hu Yang Shi Shi Yu. Relax. I don't know, man. So the literal meaning: when the city gates catch fire, disaster befalls the fish in the moat. Connotation: when a conflict or incident occurs high up, innocent people below will suffer the most. I'm trying to see, like, yeah, I guess. Yeah, I see the vision. Here's the fire. And the moat and all the fish. Oh, this is a shallow, very shallow moat. I thought it'd be deeper, like a castle moat, like a medieval castle type shit. But yeah, no, I get it. It's like the people were like higher ups in society, government, politics, and the niches there are gonna trickle down, and eventually, not trickle down, I guess. At the end of the day, it's gonna affect like the foundation of society, which are the common people, which are the people, doing everyday jobs, having the minimum, the least, they're the ones holding society together at the end of the day. Because without them, usually the higher ups, politics, the rich people, the companies can't maintain what they have without them. And anything that goes wrong at the top levels is gonna affect the people at the bottom levels. So I see how that can work. That's pretty interesting way of saying it, though. Maybe we can get one more. A random one, I didn't think. A random one. Collateral damage as a horse. Oh, yeah, I guess that too. Okay, let's see. Purple water has no fish. Let's read this one. This one's cool. Okay. Purple water has no fish. Scrumptious. People have no friends. The proverb in the title of this chapter has appeared in numerous Chinese historical and literary works, and it continues to be relevant today. In the following narrative, it is in the context of China's first territorial expansion into Central Asia during the Han Dynasty. A central figure in this expansion was Ban Chao, who came from a family of high officials in the Han court and himself a military general. Diplomats and explorer, he is credited with subduing the tribal people in the Tarim Basin and bringing them under Chinese rule during the second half of the 1st century. He accomplished all of this this through a combination of military conquest and diplomacy. All told, he served in this vast region for over 3 decades, the last 11 years in the capacity of Protector General, i.e. governor of the region. His success helped open and secure the trade routes later dubbed the Silk Road to the west. The biography of Ban Chao and the official Han Dynastic history begins with these words: "He was a man of great ambition, but did not fret grins with these words. He did not fret over details." This characterization of Ban Chao turned out to be the key to his success in governing the western regions. In 102 CE, when Ban Chao was already 70 and no longer in good health, the emperor granted his request to transfer back to the capital, and he passed away just a month after returning to Luoyang. But before he died, his successor Ren Xiang, while preparing to embark for his new post, sought Ban Chao's advice based on his extensive experience. Ban Chao did not give in to eloquent speeches, said the following: "I'm old and a bit befuddled now, but if you really want to hear my thoughts on governing the region, I'll offer you my humble opinion. Those who were sent to work on the frontier were never paragons of virtue to begin with." You know, it's fair. It's always going to be the rough and tumble people sent to those regions to deal with like, just with American East, the West, American West, right? When migrant on the Oregon Trail, all those people were, to survive, you had to be a certain type of person, really. In fact, they were all banished to the southwest for crimes, and then considered the Central Asian tribes, most of whom were uncivilized barbarians, difficult to discipline and easily corrupted. Now you are a highly scrupulous and eager to get things done quickly. You should know that pure water has no fish, and scrupulous people have no friends. If you are too conscientious in your administration, you'll lose the cooperation of those below you. It is best to keep things simple and overlook minor infractions. Go easy on the people there. As long as the big picture is okay, that's good enough. Ren Xiang apparently had no use for Bao Chao's advice for the prince. For the privately said to a close friend, "I thought Ban Chao was going to give me some clever strategies, but I received nothing but platitudes from him." Sure enough, within a few years after Ren Xiang took office, the turmoil that Ban Chao had warned him of began to unfold. The tribes in the western regions began to rebel, and Ren Xiang was recalled to the capital to answer to the emperor. Oh, goofball. When the guy that runs the fucking area for 3 decades tells you to do something, you should bloody do it. Like, come on, man. Like, come on, bro. And then you talk shit about it. Come on, man. You know, it's like, with the military, right? If you're too adamant on regulations and all this other, like, the formal paper crap, you're not gonna get the actual people to abide with you and work for you in a friendly manner that benefits the overall picture. Because at the end of the day, you know, like, for what I'm saying, the military only cares for, like, that stuff gets done in a way that looks good for the public. And under that, no one cares how. Only the certain levels, you know, they care. But, like, on the base level, as long as it gets done, minor things can be overlooked to keep the machine running, right? Like, nothing is gonna run perfectly the entire time. You have to overlook these human, like, things, right? Like, where someone messes up or doesn't do something properly. As long as the overall machine keeps functioning, it's fine, right? But if you like, keep to this scrupulous administrations and stuff, like he's saying, you're gonna break it. It's gonna break. Okay, under that strain. So, that's really good. That's what I think, at least, So the Chinese proverb is Shu Si Hyang Si Wu Yu Rain Si Cha Si Wu Tu. So I'm trying to use like well, they're not accents, but like if I remember correctly, they mean like how you're meant to pronounce it, like go up and down. I think that's what I remember when I was doing it. Little meaning: no fish are found in extreme clear waters. An extremely scrupulous person has no friends or followers. Contagion: it is difficult for people to befriend or follow someone who is too perfect. In the professional world, people do not like to work with or under overly strict people. Therefore, it is best to cut one's friends and colleagues some slack, which is true. That's why I think it is important, to a degree, to always be friendly with everyone, right? Even if you unless it's honestly like someone you just can't work with, right? That's understandable, but you should always make your best attempt to be friendly with everyone. So whenever something needs to be done,